Alright guys, we are in the wonderful world of Photoshop. I am Mike with Mike W Productions, and yes, there is a reason why I am wearing this headset. We are going to be editing a photo. Actually, we are going to be cropping a photo for you guys today. So with that being said, let's jump right into the wonderful world of Photoshop. Here I have a picture for you. Let me actually just turn that off so you guys can see it without the lines. This is Erica. Let me grab my keyboard. And Erica is a model that I have recently been working with, and she is letting me edit her photo today, and that is what we are going to be doing. So as you can see, this is in camera raw. I usually do try and shoot raw because you get to use a whole lot more stuff to edit the image with when you shoot camera raw. Now if you don't shoot camera raw, that's okay if you're just getting started, but I do highly suggest that you do eventually jump from the JPEG to camera raw, just because you get so much more depth than you would if you just shot JPEG. So without further ado, let's get croppy here. So there's nothing really wrong with this photo. She's posed right, nothing too bad in this side of the background here, but there is these power supplies here, and it's supposed to kind of be more of a gothic shoot. She's wearing this skirt and this corset and this blouse, and it's supposed to be more of like a gothic scene, so we want to kill out this modern day stuff, so we're just going to crop it down. So I have zoomed in here to make it kind of a bigger border here, and in camera raw what we're going to do is we're going to go right up here out of the depth, the different exposures and contrast settings, and we're going to go up to the crop button. And what that's going to do is you're going to get these this kind of box here and these lines. Now the important part is these focal points here, and that's where your eyes tend to go, is right on these vertical and horizontal lines. So your eyes are going to be drawn to these lines here, especially these 4 points. So wherever these 4 points are, you will kind of focus on more, and you kind of want your subject to be in the middle of these 2 vertical lines, and then these points here to be wherever framing them in, wherever you want them to be really focused on. Right now they're kind of just focused on this wall here, and then they're focused on the background and a part of her arm. We don't really want that, and then it's focused kind of just on this arm and this elbow, and then just down here on the wall and down here in this blank spot behind the model. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and take this in sideways, and all you do is left click and take that in. Her hand is up here, so what we'll do is we can come down just a little bit. Always give enough room for whatever's there. Like, see, her hand is right here. You want to give a little bit more room because Photoshop, not Photoshop, but Instagram and things online typically try to crop things down, and that's just kind of a pain. Now what I don't want to have is these little boxes here, so we're going to take this slider and move it in here. I kind of want this corner edge here to be kind of defined as a corner, plus I don't want to cut off the elbow or be really close to the elbow, so I think right there is pretty good. As you saw before, we've just brought down this just a little bit, I just want to cut off that corner that's up here that was showing, and then this is fine. And now where you can see where's the focus points, the leading lines are right here, so you get the back leg, the hips, the hand, and a part of the face, so you're kind of focusing in this general area here on this side. Here you get the arm and this little bit of blank spot, but see where she's focused in on here is right in this square here. So, and I can actually move this over just a bit, and now she is for the most part squared up. Her eyes, nose, and body are pretty much in the center of focus. And that's kind of where you want them to be. If you move it over too much, you're going to get, let me zoom in here and show you what I'm talking about. If turn that off, okay, so that's the auto crop there, and let's go up here, and this is what I wanted to talk about is this. I could actually crop it down just a little bit more here, because that little bit of blank spot I don't want to have, but you don't want to cut off the arm either. So, and now we can zoom in and go here, and I'll show you, and see her arm is there, nothing is getting cut off, and that is all good. Let's see, so yeah, there's still a little bit of peeking. I could probably cut that down a little bit, even a little bit more, and it's just depending on you. Now this might look a little bit too close, so I might pull that back just because it's a little too close and doesn't look comfortable, so we might just do something like that, so this bar is kind of in view. Also, if you don't like the position of the shot, maybe it's a little too sideways one way or another, you can actually come up here where you get this curved arrow, and you can actually turn the whole picture and make sure that they are in the vertical line. So if like you screwed up and you were a little bit tilted, well, you can actually come in and just move it around. And a good way of figuring that out is taking something that is actually vertical, let's say like this wall, and I was using a wide aperture, a wide lens, so it's a little bit different because you kind of get a little bit of a bowing, so things that are straight are kind of curved a little bit, so everything's going to go kind of out or in. And so, but I think where she's at, and that is good. Let's just pull this down again, just there. I think that's good. Let's zoom in just a bit. There we go. And I think that's a good shot. I usually do multiple shots of the same pose just because they might have blinked, they might have had a funny face, they might have, had some kind of weird reaction. So I do have like a few of the same shots, and as they move, like see here, she's going from looking at camera to looking over there, and you can edit those, and then we have a different pose here. Now this one is pretty good angle. I kind of like the sideways edit here, but we do have this pole here, which is kind of weird. You can either leave it in as a part of the shot, some people like that, or you can go up here and hit the edit button and bring it in. We kind of want to keep that door in there. I'm actually going to line this up to where she's a little more straight with that door, and then move this over, if it'll let me. There we go. And then of course I don't want this stuff in the background over here. but I do kind of like that wall that's there, so we can just pull that in. And you can see what I'm talking about is the kind of curvature of the lens is making it bow out, so you get more here on the bottom than you do on the top. And that's just because of the way of the lens that I was using. Again, you want her to be kind of in within the boxes. I do want to keep the gate there though, so she is within this area here, which is good. So majority of the focus is right here, and that's where you really want it to be, because these are the focal points here. These four corners within these vertical and horizontal lines are where you're going to look, and you're pretty much looking right here and right here, and that is where you want your model to be, in the center of that, or just off of that. I know some people say, oh well, you want them to be like this, and that is kind of true. If you have a good contrast over here, you can do that, because this is the following line, and your model will be in the middle of that following line, or at least majority of them will be in that following line. And that's also a good crop too. It's just wherever these 4 points are is where your leading eye line will kind of focus in on, because that is where your eyes just kind of go, is these 4 points here and these vertical and horizontal lines. So that's actually not bad when I take off that. And so I like that actually a little bit better than having her squared in. She's just to the right of the shot here, but she's not. There's not too much back room, and there's not too much foreground room or side room on the left or the right, I mean. So let's find one where we are a little bit closer. Here we go. I knew we had a couple. Okay, so that is a down shot. Let's do an up shot here. There we go. Okay, so the hand here is kind of blurred out, and that's fine, because that's how it's supposed to be. We liked this area here with this basement view, and it's just an upshot view, and we want to kind of keep that in, but there is a lot of headroom up here and quite a bit of hand room over here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go back to our cropping thing. We kind of want to keep, just want to get rid of that. This window seal here is kind of an annoyance, so we're going to just pop that in a little bit, and then there's just this big blank space here, so we can pull that in just a bit, and then the hand is more in focus, and again she is within this focus box, but the overhead is just a whole lot up here, so I'm going to pull this down and tighten that up and get it to right where her hand is in this corner and not like getting cut off anywhere, and that brings her down into this box here, which is around where you want your model to be. These 4 points are where people's eyes usually go to. So where are you looking? You're looking over here, you're looking right here, you're looking over here, and you're looking down here, and everything that you're focusing on is right here and across here. So that's typically where people look. Now if you see some purpley stuff here, that is your raw telling you that there is a dark spot. I'm going to kind of blow this out just so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so like this side here on her is dark. Of course down here that's dark and that's dark, and it's basically just telling you you know, it's just a little bit oversaturated. So if you just bring that up, because see, like I was seeing this little dot earlier when it was at 0. Let's bring that back down to 0, and I was saying right here is a little dot, and I wanted to get rid of that just because it's an exposure thing. And now you can kind of see that it's not exposed, and you can actually see the corset here that the model is wearing, and that's actually pretty decent, but we will go into more of that in another video. That is more so the color contrast and full editing thing, which I didn't want to really get into with this video, but that is how you crop down an image, and that is basically the idea of editing your or cropping your edit. Go follow her on Instagram, go follow me on Instagram, and thank you guys for watching this video, and we will see you guys later. Peace. Alright guys, welcome to your Photoshop bonus here. As you can see, we are in Camera Raw on Photoshop. We do have our model Erica here, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a bonus because we are doing crops, but as you can see, she is wearing this little what's called an underbust corset, and I just wanted to give you guys a quick tip on if you're doing kind of a white background and a black object. There's a lot of like white contrast here with the background and the shirt and all the other white stuff that's on here, and you can see that the corset is very designed but doesn't have a whole lot of showing with that. And what I have found that helps this, and I want to show this design in the photo and the skirt too. When we get to a skirt photo, I can jump back and show you on the next one. I want to bring out this design. Actually, let's jump to this photo here, and I want to show more of the skirt and more of the corset here. So let's level this back down to 0 where we had it at the beginning, and that's what it looks like without the edit, is just like that, which it's fine like that. It's just I want to bring out the design and the patterns that are on the corset and on the dress here. So and also you can see that there's a little bit, if you look right here, a little bit of peaking in the black, so there's not enough. We gotta boost up the blacks there. So to get that little dot there gone, again, we go down, we're going to see a lot more of that blue, which means the shadows are showing and it's just too much. So we want to bring that up just enough to where all those little dots are gone, and that means that we are even keeled. There's nothing peeking anywhere. Now what we're trying to do is get the subject here is on a white background wearing a white top, and that's fine. Everything here is pretty much in detail, but what we're trying to get is this corset and this dress skirt to have a lot more detail. And the way that we do that is we can play around with the shadows. Now the shadows are either going to make things darker, which is kind of cool, but if you look down here, we're kind of peaking on the bottom. We don't want to do that, so we'd have to bring up the blacks even more to even that out, and that would give it this kind of look, which is just a completely dark look, which is an interesting concept. But this corset does have a lot of patterns, so if I bring this back up, I'll show you by zooming in. There is a lot of patterns right here in the corset, and even in the hem of the skirt there's a lot of little patterns there, and we want to showcase those in this image. So let's do this, just go down here so we can see just the corset and just the dress, and this is kind of how I do it, because I can see actually like what I'm looking at. I can see that there is a pattern there, but it's not very detailed, not very bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this leveler of the shadows here, and I'm going to just boost this up quite a bit. And now you can see, back that up, and then zoom in. Now you can see that the shadows are pretty much all gone. You can see the details in the skirt here, and definitely in the corset there is definitely a pattern there. If we go back to, let's say, this image here, I just want to get the corset to have the patterns that we saw before. I'm just going to take the shadows and I'm going to boost it up to about there. Now you can bring down the blacks to make it look a little bit darker, but of course don't go too far to where you're peaking. And you can mess around with the other colors and see if you go too far up with the whites, it's just going to start bleeding into stuff. So with the white, they use red to tell you, okay, it's peaking, and then with the black, they use a blue to tell you it's peaking, which you can have fun with the black and the blue and make kind of a weird contrasty looking image, but I don't really want to do that with this image, but you can have fun with that. So that's just your little bonus here, and that's how you get dark images to kind of lighten up if you like to see more of the detail and pattern of said image. Alright guys, I came back. You don't see me on screen, but I wanted to show you guys why I shoot in RAW. And this is pretty much why I shoot in RAW, because I can crop down. Let's say I want to get right under her hand, and that will crop down, and then I can zoom in there and not lose detail. I can also go ahead and get an even tighter shot here and crop it down here, and that doesn't do too much to the image. Still very clear. Let me zoom out a little bit, there we go, and it's still pretty clear. And then I can go even further into just the face and a little headroom, and then put her eyes right on that line there, and you can get fairly clear and close to the person's face and the head, and make it where the image isn't all that blurry. So that is why we do that. So I'm going to edit undo that, but you know, that is one thing that we can jump into when editing the cropping factor here. So, and that's why I like to shoot in RAW, because it's just so much easier to deal with, and you don't have to deal with losing any of the contrast or any of the clarity when you shoot RAW. And that's pretty much my number one reason for shooting in RAW, is just I can get right into the face if I wanted to. I can crop it right here, and then I can of course do like different crop styles. And that is why I like to shoot in RAW, because you just get more information on the shot, and it just helps you a whole lot more than just if you shot in regular JPEG, because if I zoomed in that close to the model, it would have went pixelated, and you don't want that. So with that being said, guys, thank you again for coming in, and we will see you later. Peace.